YouTube, what's up? So in this video, we're talking about how to turn followers into clients using a 4-part system. And this is for people that have followers, engagement, people that love their content, but they're still not getting a consistent flow of clients and leads from this content. So by implementing this whole process as a whole and connecting every moving piece, it's going to add a lot more clarity to your overall acquisition and actually tie together a real funnel through your content that doesn't just bring in people telling you they like your content and viewing your videos, but it brings in real clients with intent that are served the right content, spoken to personally in the DMs at the right time, and end up eventually booking on your calendar for a sales call. So in this video, I'll be showing you the 4-part system that turns followers into high ticket clients. Those 4 include YouTube long form, Instagram stories, DMs, and backend nurture. When we put these all together, your content becomes a client printing machine. So without further ado, let's just hop straight into it. Starting off, we have our YouTube long form content. Now, the reason why this is so important, but is skipped so often, is because it's a harder platform. You have to speak to the camera for longer. You have to learn how to retain people's attention for longer time spans, and it's a lot less flashy. Views are on average very low, and there's a lot more content as a whole being consumed on short form platforms because so much content can be consumed in such a short time window. But the important thing to understand is that short form is where you primarily get reach. This is where you can reach the masses, but YouTube is the key missing link that ties everything together with your brand, delivers the most value, goes into depth, and builds the authority that you need for your audience to actually trust you, to go from someone thinking that your videos are cool, that you have a cool brand, maybe they like your style, maybe they like your editing, but they don't trust you enough to get on a call and transact with you. And it's because you haven't given them the reason to. You haven't walked through the strategies, the processes, you haven't shown them your numbers, you haven't gone in depth. So that's exactly what we do with YouTube. We go in depth. This is our chance to share case studies. We can do entire interviews with our clients, with our customers. We can do breakout videos where we break down exactly what we did for a client. And what all of this is doing is building authority. It's building trust that we really know what we're talking about. And it's giving people proof that if we were to help them in their situation, that they could actually scale using our help. Now, the next one is Instagram stories. It's also not used very often. The reason is because I think most people don't understand the use case of Instagram stories, what the real power of it is. It's more so looked at as something that is optional, something you can do. Maybe post a story when you're on a walk, maybe repost your video. But when you have real strategy behind your Instagram stories and you're already pulling in reach with your short form content, you have an audience on Instagram. Once again, it's just another channel and medium of showing up on people's feed. And so what this is for, once again, is also proof, but on a more surface level than, of course, YouTube, where we can go into, in-depth breakdowns, case studies, really get the proof across because we have so much time with our prospects. We can still do that with Instagram stories. And we can also push people straight from Instagram stories to YouTube by having people swipe up or even just dropping a link directly on your story. Now, the main power behind Instagram stories, though, is more so the familiarity bias side of it. And what I mean by this is that if you take a look and you just think of how many times someone opens Instagram in a day, maybe your average prospect, how many times they're really opening the app in a day, and what the first thing is that they're seeing. The first thing is likely the first post that pops up on their feed, but then the stories right above too. And so your goal is to be ranking on their stories, as one of the first 3 to 5 people on those stories, and to be posting real valuable content that threads the needle, that shares proof, that inspires action to move people further down your funnel, but more so just stay top of mind. And so once again, when approaching stories, you have proof content, you can share case studies, you can directly push people over to YouTube to watch full breakdowns, you have value, right? So you can go ahead and take something that would be maybe a long form email, branch it into just, a more condensed, maybe 1 to 5 slide Instagram story post. And once again, what we're building here is familiarity. We're staying top of mind. We're just reaching them in, once again, another medium and showing up on their feed more. And when we crack Instagram stories and we get better at the production side of it, we'll actually see that our engagement rate on stories will increase. Instagram stories are an algorithm in themselves. So when people interact, such as they comment on your Instagram stories, since there's replies now, and they maybe share your Instagram story or they swipe up, it's going to tell Meta that your story is compelling and should be pushed to more people, should be pushed to the front of that feed on Instagram right there for more people to see. And lastly, with Instagram stories, it's just a really low effort move. It's a really low hanging fruit. It doesn't take much time. You just need some pictures or a video and some text, and that's really all there is to it. Now, the 4th system for turning followers into actual clients is going to be DMs. It's going to be your personal connection. I don't think a lot of people miss this one. It's really obvious. It's really important. It's where, a lot of businesses get their clients from. It's where a lot of people book calls from. It is, of course, technically a lower leverage action because you have to be one-on-one in there with every single DM unless you have an appointment setter. And for that reason, a lot of people don't do it, but it's still very, very important. And the reason why that you have to understand is that a lot of your market isn't going to trust you enough to book that call passively through your funnel, whether it's through a YouTube description, whether it's through the link in bio on your Instagram, they see an ad. They might be a perfect candidate. They might be a really great prospect, but they're simply the type of person that's not going to take that action themselves. They need someone to come in and speak to them one-on-one. They need to specifically run you through some of their stories, see if it's really right for them, see if it's going to help them out. They need some assurance, right? So people are actively looking for this assurance, but there's a lot of people out there that once again just won't take the action. It's just not really in them. And so that's exactly why Instagram DMs is so powerful to thread the needle, move people forward, and get some bookings. And so what we're looking to do here in short is ask questions, qualify our leads, and guide them into a call. And once again, tying this system back in with Instagram stories, we can actually connect these two. We can send people from like a keyword from an Instagram story. Let's say they swipe up with a keyword. We can then send them to the conversation in the DMs, nurture them, right? Ask questions, qualify, guide them into the call. Lastly, send them that call link. Now, our last one is going to be Backend Nurture. This is where we show up with intent. And long story short, this is everything that happens after someone books a call. The reason why this is so important and probably the most slept on and forgotten about, and just system that people don't know of, but the people that do are doing really well with it, increasing show rates, increasing overall close rates. And the reason why it's important is because you have to think about it like this. When someone books a call, you've sold them on the front end with everything about your brand, your organic content, ads, YouTube, maybe one of them, maybe a combination of all of them. You've sold them on booking the call and speaking with you. But the thing is that the levels of intent that someone has significantly drop the second that someone books that call. So it's slowly just decreasing or even rapidly decreasing depending on the person. And so the whole idea of backend systems and backend nurture is to sell them on now showing up to the call, and not just showing up to the call, but showing up to the call with the right information to make an educated purchase. You are aiming to do two things. Number one, get them to show up to this call if they weren't going to before. They need more information. They need to know if it's right for them. They need to know that it's not a waste of time. They need to know that if they move forward with it, they're not going to get screwed. And they also need to show up to that call with the right frame for your sake and for their sake, so that for you, it's not an education call, so you're not wasting time. And so that for them, it's more of a streamlined process where they know what they're getting into. They have a lot of the information. They don't have to spend a lot of time on a call. And so the way that we do this is through a few different systems. And the systems you implement here really depends on the level of scale that you're at. But there's some that are really easy, really free to set up basically. And those are things such as confirmation page videos. So in your funnel, when someone's booking, such as using a system like Calendly, we can redirect them to a certain page, right? So this is the page that we want to redirect them to, which has confirmation page videos, which is one main video where we basically congratulate them on booking the call. We let them know what to expect going up to the call. And below that video on the page, we have multiple what's called breakout videos, where we're basically handling multiple objections and also giving them all the information that they need before showing up to that call. So once again, show up and make an educated purchase and know what they're getting into in the first place, qualify themselves, see if it's right for them. Another thing that we can do after the call is reminders, right? But not just the basic reminders, not just the automated ones, but actually value-driven reminders over email and SMS, giving them more content to consume before the call to be more nurtured, giving them specific case studies. We can throw more case studies at them. And lastly, it's going to be retargeting ads. Now, this is going to be the one that only really makes sense if you're at scale. And what this consists of is actually having a custom audience within Meta, using a pixel to know exactly who hit that confirmation page, and actually targeting this audience only with ads. Now, the idea of this is to serve the same purpose as the confirmation page videos and the reminder emails and sequences, but in the form of content. There's obviously ad spend that goes into this, and you need a certain amount of people for Meta to actually be able to target this audience. So it really only makes sense if you're at a high level of scale. You have multiple setters, you have closers within your operation. But if you're not, you can 100% implement these first two, which are really easy to do. They don't necessarily come with any cost either, but they're still very, very effective. And so overall, to summarize Backend Nurture, our goal is to eliminate no-shows and pre-sell leads before the call. So if you've been building a brand and wondering why your followers aren't turning into clients, now you know. It's probably not a content problem. It's simply just a system problem, a layer of systems on the back end that aren't in place, that don't directly guide a follower from being a complete stranger that's just seen a couple of your videos and thought that they were cool, to actually building up trust and intent to actually join your program, talk with you on a call, and further the level of value that they can get from you and your brand. Overall, when you have long form to build authority, stories to create familiarity, DMs to actually connect one-on-one with your leads, and Backend Nurture to actually pre-sell your leads, make sure they show up to the call, overall increase close rate, only when all of those systems are connected in one is when your content actually starts to become a predictable client acquisition machine. And this is exactly what I help coaches and info sellers with by implementing something that we call the Trust Content Ecosystem Framework. So if you want to see exactly how this would work in your business specifically, I'll leave a link down below where you can book a call to speak directly with me one-on-one, apply to work with me and my team, see if we're a good fit. Make sure to hit like and subscribe. I drop videos like this on usually a weekly basis, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.